California drivers are paying about 44% more for gas than the average American, with prices hovering around $4.40 to $4.58 a gallon, while the national average sits near $3.06. And that gap is exactly what made the Arizona governor lose it today. You're about to see why California's gas prices are so extreme, how a brand new climate rule could quietly push them even higher, and why governors in neighboring states like Arizona are suddenly paying very close attention. Plus, what you can actually do to protect your own wallet before the next spike hits. Quick question before we dive in. At what gas price would you finally change your driving habits? $4.50, $5, or $6 a gallon? Drop your number in the comments, because watching where that line is might tell us more about the future of gas than any politician speech ever will. And don't forget, if you're tired of getting surprised at the pump, hit like, subscribe. Imagine stepping out of your car, looking up at the California gas station sign and seeing $4.40, $4.60, even higher, while you know the national average is hanging just above $3. Now picture being the governor of Arizona, where voters are already nervous about inflation, and realizing your neighbor is paying over $1 more per gallon for the exact same fill-up. That's not just sticker shock. That's a political warning flare lighting up the sky. That's political dynamite. Here's the part that really makes people snap. California's prices aren't just high today. They're designed to be high almost every day. Extra fuel taxes, a unique environmental blend, aggressive climate rules, and a smaller club of refineries, all stacked together like weight plates on a barbell, pushing the price board upward. It's why California usually tops every national gas price chart, while other states watch nervously from below. Understanding this structure reveals a brutal truth. On paper, California can claim things are getting better. The statewide average has slipped from the mid $4.40 into the low $4.40 range, after flirting with $4.70 not long ago. That's 2 weeks of gentle declines, helped by cooler demand and fewer refinery headaches. But here's the catch. While Californians are celebrating $4.40, the rest of the country is staring at about $3.06 a gallon. The Arizona governor isn't just seeing a high number, he's seeing a different universe. Less pain doesn't mean it's cheap. Now add one more twist. A brand new climate rule just kicked in, tweaking California's already strict low-carbon fuel standard. It forces fuel suppliers to blend in cleaner options and buy credits if they fall short, creating a multi-billion-dollar clean fuel market. Regulators say it might add a few extra cents per gallon. Critics argue it's more. But either way, those cents pile up fast across millions of drivers. To a neighboring governor, that looks like policy baked directly into the pump. Tiny tweaks can create huge outrage. You can almost hear the sound bites writing themselves. Opponents in California are already blasting the new rule as price gouging by Newsom, claiming Sacramento is squeezing drivers in the name of climate virtue. Some lawmakers are scrambling to calm voters with ideas like capping the price of those clean fuel credits so they don't explode at the pump. Meanwhile, every spike becomes a talking point for governors and candidates in Arizona, Nevada, and beyond. High gas isn't just economics anymore. It's a weapon in every campaign. Here's the uncomfortable trade nobody likes to say out loud. California's rules are built to choke off pollution, not necessarily to protect your wallet this month. Regulators brag that the fuel standard has already displaced billions of gallons of dirty diesel and gasoline, and they're aiming to cut the equivalent of hundreds of millions of tons of CO2 over the coming decades. For them, a few extra cents per gallon is the cost of a cleaner future. For drivers, it's the cost of living. The math feels different at the pump. If you're sitting in Arizona, you might think, that's California's circus, not ours. But the fuel market doesn't respect state lines. Refineries that serve California also serve parts of the Southwest. Pipeline flows shift when prices move, and trucking companies pass higher costs downstream into everything from groceries to building materials. tourists think twice about long road trips, and businesses redo their budgets overnight. Suddenly, California's price board isn't just a headline, it's a forecast for the whole region. To understand why California is such an outlier, you've got to open up a gallon of gas like a receipt. Part of the cost is crude oil, which everyone pays. Another chunk is refining and profits, which spike when refineries go down. Then you add distribution, marketing, and finally taxes and environmental fees. This is where California goes heavy. Stack all those layers, and the difference between $3 and $4.40 stops looking mysterious. The price is just the symptom. Here's the question that keeps people up at night. Is this it now? California prices have eased off the peak, drifting down from the mid $4.70 to the low $4.40. And forecasts say they could soften further as winter demand stays mild. But every time drivers get a tiny break, something else threatens to push prices right back up. New rules, refinery hiccups, global oil drama. So instead of a straight drop, you get a roller coaster that never returns to the old floor. Normal keeps getting more expensive. Before we dive into who actually profits from these prices and how you can defend your wallet, quick pit stop. If you're tired of getting surprised at the pump, hit like, subscribe, and share this video with one friend who complains about gas every week. The more people understand what's really driving these numbers, the harder it is for anyone to spin them. Information is leverage. Use it. When you're staring at the pump total, it feels like everyone is winning except you. And in a way, that's not far off. Behind those climate rules sits a multi-billion-dollar credit market where companies that produce cleaner fuels can earn and sell credits to the traditional fuel giants. Some biofuel and clean energy players quietly cash in every time those requirements tighten. On paper, the system rewards innovation. In practice, it also concentrates profit in a few sophisticated hands, while drivers fund the experiment. Someone is monetizing your frustration. Officials love to say gas is over $1 cheaper than it was at the worst peak. And technically, they're right. But that's like bragging the fire is smaller now that half the house already burned. Californians remember seeing prices rocket towards $6. So yes, $4.40 looks better on a chart. The problem is, everyone else went back closer to $3, while California stayed stuck on a higher step. The story changes completely when you zoom your chart out. Relief isn't the same as fairness. One of the craziest parts of California's gas saga is how much your zip code matters. In some inland or border counties, drivers have watched prices flirt with $5 or even $6, while others down in the valley sit closer to the low $4 range for the exact same gallon. Same car, same commute, wildly different monthly budget. That kind of internal gap doesn't just create resentment. It shapes where people choose to live, work, and vote. Geography becomes an invisible tax. When gas jumps, people don't sit around debating policy. They change their lives. Families in California cut weekend trips, bundle errands, and squeeze more people into every ride. In Arizona, some switch to smaller cars, others move closer to work or school, and a lot of folks quietly swipe credit just to keep the tank above empty. Carpool chats turn into strategy sessions, not small talk. Over time, those little adjustments add up to big lifestyle shifts. High prices rewrite daily routines. No app or secret station is going to magically cut your bill in half, but the right stack of small moves does make a difference. Using price comparison apps, filling up early in the week, keeping tires properly inflated, and driving smoother instead of flooring it from every light can shave real money off your monthly fuel cost. Add loyalty programs, cashback cards, and combining trips instead of scattering them. It's not glamorous, but it's math. Habits are your quiet discount. There's a villain in this story most people never see. The refinery maintenance schedule. When one or two major refineries in or around California go down for repairs or unexpected problems, supply tightens, wholesale prices jump, and those increases race to the pump like wildfire. Recently, as some of those issues eased, prices finally started drifting lower. But that peace is fragile. One badly timed outage before a holiday weekend can erase weeks of relief overnight. Stability hangs on a few smokestacks. Here's the twist almost nobody at the pump is thinking about. California's long-term plan isn't to lower gas prices. It's to make gasoline gradually less relevant. Between stricter fuel standards, incentives for electric cars, and city plans that favor transit over traffic, the state is trying to steer drivers away from the pump entirely. That doesn't help someone filling up tomorrow, but it explains why leaders tolerate higher prices today. They're betting on a future where fewer people care. The goal is less gas, not cheap gas. If the Arizona governor really loses it over California prices, the smart move isn't just pointing fingers. It's using that anger to demand better protection for his own residents. That means pushing for clearer breakdowns of every cent in a gallon, guarding against sudden fee hikes, and investing in alternatives so drivers have real choices, not just pain. Coordinate with neighboring states on supply, but keep local politics focused on transparency and resilience, not theatrics. Outrage is useless without strategy. So when the Arizona governor loses it over California's gas prices, it's not just drama, it's a preview. California's unique mix of taxes, climate rules, refinery risks, and long-term plans for cleaner transport create a price board that shocks everyone else, but also quietly shapes the future. For drivers in Arizona, California, and anywhere watching from a distance, the lesson is simple. You can't control global oil, refinery outages, or political ego, but you can control how prepared you are. Track your fuel costs, tighten your driving habits, pressure leaders for transparency, and plan your next vehicle with long-term prices in mind, not nostalgia for the past. When you understand the game, the numbers stop feeling random. Final disclaimer. This video is for informational and educational purposes only, and does not constitute professional financial, legal, or policy advice. Always consult a qualified professional before making decisions related to your finances, transportation, or energy use.